Hello to you all, and thank you so much for being here for this reading. I am speaking to someone who is clear on the fact that they have just embarked on a new journey with their mindset. So in terms of your way of thinking, where you've known yourself to believe things a certain way, that things should be done a certain way, that you are a certain way, this has very recently or is currently in the process of shifting. In a sense, you are actually already aware that you are well on your way because you're aware of the power of your mind, and it sounds so cliche. I'm referring to something has unlocked in your mind. Something has unlocked. Something that was locked has unlocked. And as I said that, they actually showed you turning the key. And so this was a decision that you made. And so this was very intentional. Okay? This is interesting because I just finished recording a video. Back in November, I recorded a November to January integration video that I put on Patreon. I'm going to leave a link below to this video that I have released onto YouTube. Okay, the one from November. I just finished recording another one for the period from now, so that's mid-January to March. So you can also find the link to that below. My speech feels so jaggedy, which is another word that came up there. I feel like even when I look at the cards in front of me, in your throat, there's the Magician and there's the Knight of Wands clarified by the King of Wands. This is what you are currently speaking into the world. It's almost happening so quickly, the result. And that's actually what's helped you to, I'll expand on what I mean by the result, but that's what's allowed you to become like quite certain about the fact that you've got a new lease on life. Okay. And so perhaps you're still waiting for certain physical results, but you can already actually feel the shifts, and you've already sort of, I want to say done the calculations. Okay. This is not like numbers. I'm not talking about numbers. You've already sort of, weighed things up, done the maths. I don't know how else to put it, around what you put in versus what you get out. And so you've become aware, and you've got like this sense of, accountability and ownership over what you were getting out before. Okay. And therefore you're able to completely understand and almost touch the understanding that now that you've unlocked this thing, you're actually going to be changing the results. And what I'm hearing actually, like in the way that my words are coming out, it feels bitty. I don't know. I can't find the word for this. The start of this doesn't completely feel smooth yet, but the intention is there, and it's like you know that you'll be in flow. You know that you'll land yourself in a state of flow, but that this is okay for it to be like this for now. Okay, so you know that it will become more natural, feel more natural, but you're allowing for this phase of things to be this way. So you're not expecting to shoot the lights out. It's interesting. I'm getting all these results-oriented sort of words and analogies, and that's not my intention. It's just what's going on. So I feel like there's something that you tracked for a really long time. Okay. I think for a really long time, there's something you had your eye on, and you were tracking it, and you got frustrated with, its, progress, the way it was going. And, so now you've kind of changed how you're looking at it, especially now that you're feeding it something fresh, feeding it something new, a new attitude, a new lease on life. And so you're not expecting it to turn around immediately. You're just actually enjoying the process, and also marveling at your ability to unlock your mind. And so I'm also finding you approaching life with confidence that you didn't have before. I think you also used to maybe sort of beat yourself up a bit about, I don't have the guts. Like you used to tell yourself you don't have the guts. I don't even know what we're talking about. And is it weird that I think that someone just said that to me? Like you just thought those words that I said, I don't even know what you're talking about. Is it weird that I heard that? For clarity here, I'm referring to a change in your attitude where you are now on a more optimistic road than you were before. There are things that you used to believe about yourself and how things are supposed to be done that have changed because you experienced something, either your own frustration or just your own realization that told you or nudged you to try thinking a different way. It made you take a chance on hope. And then other things started shifting in the mind, okay? And perhaps I'm clarifying here. This should be a confirmation. And so if this is still lost on you, then perhaps this is not for you right now, or it's not for you. So please use your discernment. But this is someone who's very much aware that how they are seeing things has shifted. And one of the results of this is that their life is going to shift. The things that they create out of their life are going to shift. How life feels is going to shift. And what life brings back to you is going to shift. If you actually look at the crown, there's the 3 of Swords and clarified by the wheel. And this wheel actually has needed for you to turn it. The 3 of Swords is what has confirmed for me that there is an acknowledgement of what I'd call a wounded way of seeing things and thinking, okay? Sort of a wounded system of belief that was limiting you, okay? In your third eye, I have the 5 of Wands clarified by the King of Pentacles and the Devil. This for me is like, especially this, the third eye, the throat and the heart, and the solar plexus. All of these cards, I feel like I'm witnessing a major shift for someone. I feel like I'm watching you as you shift and watching you as you observe yourself and how you've changed your attitude. I mean, I'm probably saying that for like the 4th time. How you're interacting with your third eye, okay, is shifting. Why? Because of the intentions, look at the throat where the Magician is. Because of the intentions that you have put into the process. And so now your third eye is feeding you sort of I don't want to say what you want, but it's transforming not the quality, but the actual stuff. It's shifting the stuff that it's showing you. And so your third eye is very much a part of the process of creating your future. And so that is in the process of transforming purely because of your shift in mindset and the shift in your intentions. In your heart, I have the 3 of Cups and the 7 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles very much about intention. You have set an intention for life to be fruitful. You're attracting positive stuff for yourself, things that you want to make you feel nurtured. This could be community, 3 of Cups, very much enjoyment and celebration. It's all of these things. That's what you're attracting, okay? And not just that, in your solar plexus, there's this, look at how she's receiving in the Judgment card. She's receiving, and the 3 of Wands is also speaking to me about expecting. And so you are open to receive all those things that you're expecting. This is somebody who knows what it's like to live in a hopeless mindset. You have completely transformed. Another thing I see from your clarifying cards in your third eye is that when you used to interact with your intuition, it used to share all this information with you, but you used to doubt it. Even when it showed you your own power, when it showed you the things you can change, you used to doubt it. And so as a result of that, you weren't quite empowered enough to use the information from your third eye. There was always doubt. This theme of empowerment has been coming up so often lately, and I don't even have the Emperor here. This is the first reading where in a long time, it feels like now, where I don't have the Emperor and the Empress. They were in the integration video, but they're not here. It feels like this sense is becoming very much embodied. And something else I'm hearing is, as much as you have expectations right now, your sense of importance on focusing on expectations, the words aren't coming out perfectly, but your sense of expectation is not larger than how you're tapping into how you're feeling. Okay, let me try word that better, please. You are focusing more on how you're feeling as you move, and how your thoughts make you feel, and how your actions make you feel, more than you are focusing on your expectations. This is like, it feels like true focus. It feels like focus that is going to, it empowers you to move in the direction that you're headed in. Instead of always feeling like you're on the back foot, like you're already sort of losing before you've put your effort in. Do you know what I mean? Something else I heard as I was preparing to do this reading was, how does it feel to rest? What does it feel like to rest? And what I was connecting with here is this feeling of trying to rest when you can actually feel that your body is filling up with energy. When your body feels like it's filling up with energy, let's say you're at rest, right? It feels like a restlessness. What I saw is like maybe what a horse or a dog feels like when it just wants to run and it's being restrained. That's actually what I see. And just imagine that feeling of all your cells lighting up and like almost like a tingle, but it starts to feel uncomfortable because you need to move, like where you feel like even just running or going for a jog would help you to express some of this energy. And so very much I'm feeling a surge inward of new energy that you want to express, that you want to understand, that you want to interact with. There is a curiosity. There is also not so much an anticipation, but an eagerness to learn what it is you're receiving. Okay, so you actually completely different interaction with your intuition. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is slightly overwhelming from an energetic point of view as I read. I'm just going to tell you that. This is not a negative thing. I am more tapping into the fact that you've unlocked so much new energy, okay, in the form of actual drive, in the form of information, energy. When I use the word energy now, I'm not using it in the sense of, we speak of energy and there are varying types of energy and we speak in the language of energy. Energy. Yes, I am talking about fuel is what I'm talking about. Fuel. As I sat with that thought about the restlessness that comes in as this energy is sitting in your body wanting to be transformed or worked with or exit, one of the things I thought about is the importance of being intentional about rest. And not really for the reason that's obvious, being because you need to rest. But it's more like creating space to rest where you've actually told yourself that rest is a need. Because the restlessness can occur partly from feeling the need to perform and feeling guilty about resting. Okay, like you feel like you need to be somewhere. You feel like you should be doing something. There is that. Okay, that's more the obvious sort of layer of being intentional about rest. What lies beneath that is not obvious about this intention that you set and especially because of this tingling that I'm talking about, where your body feels activated and you get curious, you will feel that once you've allowed yourself to rest. You will be able to feel the difference between, the difference. You'll be able to sort of differentiate this restlessness. You will know that there's something to be expressed rather than believing or thinking that you actually are just feeling restless because you're not used to resting and you're feeling guilty because you need to do something. You'll be able to tell the difference. I'm going to tell you now, the way I'm communicating tells me that I'm speaking to someone, let's call it like someone with a sleepy leg. Let me just explain what I mean. When you've been sitting for a long time and maybe you've been sitting on your foot or something, okay, you've been resting, and then you need to get up and go. And your foot hasn't had much circulation, and so it feels numb and it's a bit like floppy. I feel like that. And I know that it's this energy here because I just recorded something, and the way I'm speaking, it's like my words are not wording as easily, finding the words. It's like you're finding your feet, and that's okay. Because they're saying ride this new energy, and most importantly, they want you to acknowledge it, because that's a huge part of integrating basically like this idea of what it's like to interact with your mindset and to allow an old mindset to crumble, even though you don't know what's going to come after that, to try something new. They want you to really be in touch with this experience that you're going through and how you turned the key, because you're going to be turning more keys. This was very much the theme in that integration video. You're going to be turning more keys. There is more. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like, but wait, there's more. And that's how it feels. In your sacral chakra, I have the Knight of Cups, and I've got the Ace of Swords in reverse with the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, this very much opportunity energy, but it's also saying this is part of what you're creating. This is part of what's on offer. This is confirming that these offers are incoming. Okay, however, what you are currently processing in your sacral energy as a result of realizing that there are some things in your plans where you're not sure what you want yet. You kind of know how you want to feel. You haven't quite put it into words. You're also still deciding how you feel about certain things, that kind of thing. Like if you're attracting an opportunity, you could say, I'd like to become open to attracting an opportunity, but you have no idea what that opportunity is. And so what is actually being created right now in your sacral chakra is clarity around these opportunities. You're going to be receiving that. And I know you're going to be receiving that because you are in a state of receiving and you're willing to not fight for that receiving. You are ready to receive. You feel so much in control of yourself in this space where you've accepted that you have no control. It feels like you've loosened your grip on exactly what the outcome needs to be like, and you're really actually just enjoying the feeling of witnessing your transformation. Because essentially, you've almost detached from this idea of, I must have that. You've realized what's most important is like how you feel in the moment, feeling empowered in the moment, because that is where you're creating. And so I feel like that's the reason very much for your sense of motivation. You are, if I say that you are feeling empowered one more time, in your root chakra, I have the 8 of Wands. Okay. I love this card so much. It's so hard for me to choose. I love this deck. Let me start there. But my favorite was always the Magician, but I absolutely love seeing the 8 of Wands because it talks about movement. It talks about incoming energy. It talks about momentum. So many things. Okay. It's like sparks and like energy, and I love it. And it's clarified by the Seven of Swords. This is how quickly your energy is moving. I've stuttered throughout this. If you're still listening, thank you. What this is telling me is that in areas of your daily routine, your stability, your sense of safety, your work, your progress, okay? This sense that what you put in, what are you going to get out? All of that stuff that makes you feel like something is happening in your life. They actually did use the word empowered again. I'm going to have to put it on the thumbnail here or in the title. But essentially, these things, I get a big sense that you're keeping this sense to yourself. You are not telling anyone. You're observing yourself. And the reason you're not telling anyone is out of a sense of self-preservation. You don't want this new energy to be depleted or to have any negative projections casted on it. You are protecting it. You are protecting this new state that you're in. You're caring for it. I think in one of the very last readings, we talked about caring for your new creation. The one with the key. The one with the key. That this new creation needs to be taken care of. And so in this context, I could also be speaking to someone who has been very intentional about receiving this inspiration on a new version of themselves that they can become. And you know what's interesting is, just as we talk about manifesting a new version of yourself, qualities in yourself, that this is very much possible. Okay? We often talk about manifesting other stuff. We can talk about material things, and we can talk about manifesting information through your intuition. You can actually manifest a new version of yourself without having clarity on what that version looks like. And so you're manifesting a new quality out of yourself. And I just want to share, because this came up for me earlier today, so I'm sharing it here because it feels relevant. There was a time at the beginning of last year, the beginning of 2025, where I asked Spirit to please share with me language, a way of speaking that is more accessible, less cluttered with terminology, words that a person needs to understand the meaning of in order to understand what you're saying. This was just for me to be more accessible, and also to not only be accessible to people that are deep in the spiritual community. I then let it go. I didn't do anything about it. But gradually over time, especially when I look at the difference in myself and how I speak between now and then, that's completely transformed. And I feel like that's what untethered feels like. That's what unbridled feels like. This is a big theme right now. This sense of not being tethered, and this sense of just not being held back by things that allow other people to feel safe, and that end up inhibiting your own sense of freedom and the extent to which you can expand. So I very much, I think that's also why I never really focused too much on, as much as the language has been very results oriented, and I hope I'm not mixing up readings right now. I can barely remember what I said at the beginning of this reading. But there's this feeling that I have here, that you're very much protecting this version of yourself while it, incubate? Until you found your own feet. Until you found your own feet, you're giving yourself space, you're giving yourself freedom. And very much you have learned the hard way that freedom of thought requires protection. Just because it's very convenient for other people to shift what you believe if who you'll become is not going to work for them. Sometimes they do it consciously, sometimes they do it unconsciously, but you don't care about the difference anymore. You don't care the reason why they do it. You're not there for that. What you are there for is to protect this, because it is everything to you. Who you become and who you are to yourself is your biggest priority. I want to tell you that I'm very proud of you. And I'm also noticing that I don't feel pulled in this reading to tell you where you're going. And I'm just noting that. And this is not to say that I usually feel like I need to tell you where you're going. I just literally noticed that that's missing. That's missing. Actually, what I'm sensing right now is the intentional absence of that information. What I mean by that is, I actually would piss you off right now if I told you what's coming. That's how protective you've become. And so I just want to say that this progress is amazing and really a testimony to this idea that we have to work hard to enjoy transformation, when actually the hard part is not the work. The hard part is relaxing into trusting that tomorrow exists and that tomorrow is not just this black hole that we could cave into if we're not super careful and, take the wrong steps and believe the wrong thing and all of those things. You no longer feel like you have to be super cautious. You really trust yourself. And this is not so much about trusting the universe. This is about a sense of trust in yourself, that you have what it takes, what come what may. You have what it takes. And I'm so, so proud of you. I can't say that enough. I'm going to leave that here. Thank you all for being here. And really, thank you for all of your support and all of your comments. Honestly, reading through them immediately sends me into gratitude. Just to be able to enjoy such rich comments, such confirmations. Each and every one of them, I appreciate them. The short ones and the long ones, I read every single one, even though I may not respond to them all. I even drop down to see who's replied to what. I do. So thank you so very much. All links, as I've promised, will be in the description box below. And to anyone who is new to the channel, I'm going to include my playlist of readings from the beginning of 2026 that if you are listening to this, I believe you might find interesting. Sending you all so much love.